Hypocrisy of ECOWAS leaders. In our previous videos, I talked about checking the records of how most of these leaders rose to power. It is quite amazing how seriously they are talking about the Niger coup, which ousted one of their likes, Bazoum. Certainly, they must do all it takes to reinstall him on Nigerians, whose majority does not want him. We are not also ruling out the Western influence and interest in the whole matter. Niger is very rich in uranium, which is massively exploited, and yet the country is regarded as one of the poorest. There is high poverty rate to the extent Nigerians cross into neighboring Nigeria in sizable numbers and doing all sorts of jobs just to survive. For majority of the population, respite has come through the coup, but ECOWAS would, for just one man, Mohamed Bazoum, kill their dreams again. The deadline given to the military junta to reinstate the civilian government has passed. The Western interests, especially France, refuse to end. And only the democratic government will play along while the exploitation of their raw materials continue. Niger Republic is last of the four in that bloc that is yet to show the West the door. No wonder they are really serious about what happens there. France has assured ECOWAS of their available support whenever it's needed. Of course, such backings include the use of force should in case peaceful negotiations fails. The Nigerian Senate has overwhelmingly rejected a bill by the President Tinubu-led government which also shares ECOWAS seats for a military intervention. The most opposition to such action was coming from the Nigerian masses. Few days ago, clerics jointly called on the government to avoid the use of force in settling the dispute. But according to Ivorian president, ending coup is beyond Nigeria versus Niger. The Ivorian president said all the heads of states in West Africa regional bloc think they have tried in trying to dialogue with the Niger pushists. That is to say, it's not Nigeria and the citizens of Nigeria to decide, but ECOWAS leaders. So he doesn't care what the Nigerian people say about the matter as their opinion does not count. Cote D'Ivoire Allasane has affirmed that the considerately moves were an ECOWAS affair as opposed to a matter between Nigeria and Niger. Ouattara stated this on Thursday on the sidelines of the extraordinary summit by the Economic Community of West African States in Abuja. To him, ECOWAS cannot accept this. This is not a matter of Nigeria against Niger. Not at all. The decision that we have made today, according to him, and I hope that it will be implemented immediately, is a decision of ECOWAS. According to the Ivorian president, all the heads of state in the West African regional bloc think they have tried dialogue with the Niger pushists. He said, I personally consider this as a terrorist act, and we cannot let this continue. We have to act. The decision of Cote D'Ivoire, which has been endorsed by all of the heads of states, and that we have been able to tell these pushes, is that their place is in the barracks, he said. Cote d'Ivoire Allasane sees himself as a democratically elected president, despite mending the constitution to return to office the third time in 2020. His attitude in Ivory Coast are amongst the reasons stated by President George Weah of Liberia on why military coup will continue in West Africa. When Ouattara was declared the winner of the October 31st, 2020 poll in Cote d'Ivoire, with a controversial 94% lead, the opposition cried foul and announced a transitional government. He urges political opponents to help diffuse tensions following the deaths of dozens of people in election-related violence and the arrest of opposition figures. According to final result, the 78-year-old, as at the point in time, winning re-election with more than 94% at the October 31st vote, which opposition parties largely boycotted and dismissed as illegal. During his swearing-in ceremony in the commercial capital Abidjan, 13 African counterparts attended, but the opposition snubbed the invitation. Opposition groups said Ouattara violated the constitution, which limits president to 2 terms. Ouattara had maintained that the approval of a new constitution in 2016 allowed him to restart his mandate. When Ouattara was declared the winner, the opposition cried foul and announced a rival transitional government in protest. Several opposition leaders were arrested, with legal proceedings over sedition launched against them. For many Ivorians, painful memories were stirred of aftermath of the disputed election in 2010. A political standoff was followed by a brief civil war in which approximately 3,000 people died and an estimated 1.3 million people fled their homes in the country, the world's top cocoa producer. You can already see the mood of ECOWAS leaders in the meeting to reinstall Bazoum, so things will continue as usual.